Welcome. Thanks for coming and listening to this talk, either for the ACM Cheer 2020 conference or wherever you happen to be in time and space right now. I am Nilabhra Bhattacharya, and I will take you through research I did with Shomnath Rokhet, my doctoral advisor Jacek Kwiska, and our collaborator Paul Kukut. In this work, we employ computer vision algorithms to predict whether a person is reading a relevant document from their eye movement patterns. Relevance is a fundamental concept of information retrieval. Relevance arises from interactions between a user's information need and information objects. This results in various manifestations of relevance and becomes meaningful only in relation to goals and tasks. In this paper, our interest is in situational relevance or utility. Situationally relevant items are those that answer or logically help to answer questions of concern. Eye tracking provides an interesting avenue to observe users while they interact with information systems. Eye tracking provides insights about a user's attention in real time. There is a rich body of literature exploring relevance prediction using eye tracking. However, because we still do not have a standard method of comparing groups of scan paths holistically, most of the past efforts resorted to aggregating the eye tracking data at stimulus, trial, or participant levels, which led to data loss. Also, lack of standard feature selection methods resulted in varied prediction performance. Convolutional neural networks, or CNNs, are backbones of modern computer vision algorithms. Image classification is a major application of CNNs. CNNs have this useful property called transfer learning. Training received for solving one task can be reused to solve a different but related task. And so, benchmark CNN classifiers such as VGG and ResNet are readily available for use in research problems. In this paper, our approach is to encode an eye-tracking scan path into an image and feed the image to a pre-trained image classifier. The classifier then predicts whether the scan path image is for reading a relevant document or an irrelevant document. Eye-tracking user study. We used data from an experiment with 25 participants who performed a binary relevance judgment task. They saw a trigger question and subsequently read a short news article. On the next screen, participants rated whether the news article contained the answer to the trigger question or not. Generating scan path images. For generating scan path images, we take an eye-tracking scan path and convert it into a scan path image. We encode three attributes from the eye fixations: location, duration, and fixation start time. We encode fixation durations as markers with different shapes, sizes, and colors. We examine the distribution of fixation durations in our data and divide the range into 4 partitions. Each partition is associated with a marker. These markers were chosen to be visually different from each other so that CNNs can identify local patterns of fixations with similar durations. We encode fixation start time using a color map for saccades. Saccades are rapid eye movements between two fixation points, represented as straight lines in the encoded image. We change the saccade color linearly from blue in the first saccade to green in the last saccade. These are 2 examples of generated scan path images. You can see the various fixation markers, the saccade lines, and the gradual change in saccade color to indicate temporal sequence. Scan path image classification. This is the problem statement of our approach. Given only the scan path image of a user's eye gaze on a news article, can a CNN classifier predict if the user perceived the article to be relevant or not for answering a trigger question? This is our neural network architecture. It starts with a pre-trained benchmark CNN model, followed by a fully connected layer, a dropout layer, and a final prediction layer. For the pre-trained portion, we conducted separate experiments with VGG, ResNet, DenseNet, and Inception ResNet architectures. The numbers beside each model denote how many hidden layers each architecture has. The training configurations are also displayed. These are excerpts of image classification results on the validation set and the test set. In this video, we focus on the F1 score. Since both validation set and the test set have almost equal scores, we can say that the models did not overfit. Also, shallower models with less hidden layers performed better than deeper models with more hidden layers. The VGG19 model had the best classification performance. CNN prediction interpretability. Neural networks are often criticized as being opaque. It is difficult to interpret how they operate on individual input samples to generate prediction. We used a gradient-weighted class activation mapping or GradCam technique to generate visual explanations of the CNN's predictions. CAMs are heat maps indicating which pixels in the image are considered important for making a prediction. We hypothesized that these heat maps could offer new insights about human reading behavior. This is an example of a CAM on a single relevant scan path image. The classifier appears to have focused more on the right side of the scan path. Previous eye tracking research has shown that when people read relevant documents, their eyes move horizontally. They continue to read till the end of every line and then move on to the next line. Therefore, fixations occur at the end of most lines for many lines in sequence. For an irrelevant scan path image, the classifier focused on the top and bottom regions. People usually scan or skim irrelevant information and produce more vertical eye movements than horizontal. Very few fixations occur near the end of successive lines, since people rarely read irrelevant documents continuously. To understand if the CNN had identified some patterns about human reading behavior, we generated average CAMs for each class using all the scan path images in the test set. We see that across all relevant scan path images, the most predictive region was along the right margin, whereas across all irrelevant scan path images, the most predictive regions were at the top and bottom. We discuss this further in our paper. In conclusion, we proposed a scan path image classification approach that has several advantages over existing methods. As a proof of concept, it shows promise without overfitting and makes good use of transfer learning. Our experimental design had some limitations, such as simple tasks, short texts, and uniform participant group. In the future, we plan to employ this approach to complex information search task scenarios and also with diverse participants. We thank our funders at Lockheed Martin Corporation and our research collaborators at the University of Maryland. Special thanks to Sigayer's student travel grant for gracefully reimbursing my expenses in spite of the cancelled conference. And finally, a big thank you to you, my audience, for listening patiently and showing interest in our research. I'm happy to answer all questions. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.